Hi, Psychic Frank's Mystery School. Oh, I have it right here. Psychic Frank apostrophe S Mystery School. That's the YouTube channel. And if you want to get a hold of me, it's psychicfrank11 at gmail.com. Easy peasy. So, yeah, if you haven't, I'll leave it here, and at the end of the show, my 52 minutes here, I'll hopefully remember to repeat that. Yeah, when I was doing in the studio, what I'm doing now, I always had underneath me Psychic Frank's Mystery School, but I'm not in the studio now. Yeah, if they could work out a time, that when people aren't well, it's a different world now. People, when I had a 4 o'clock, so I forget, it was like late in the afternoon on Thursdays, but people would stop me on the street and say, man, I'm coming home from work, because then they air me at SF Commons. By the way, I'm in San Francisco here, Hayes Valley. So if you have Comcast Xfinity TV, thank you for watching me. Channel 29, 730, and that's Gabby, my wonderful parrot. Got a little bubble here. Yeah, we're in a little hippie bubble here. She's my hippie chick. Okay, so I'm a psychic healer who uses numerology, astrology, and I realized, Pam Gregory is, I think, the best astrologer out there. She comes out of the UK, and then there's Kathy Rose. I love her. Molly McCord. Pam Gregory. I just had this connection with her, and she's free on YouTube. Check her out. So I use astrology, but I realized all psychics, all astrologers aren't psychic. I'm a late bloomer. It takes me a while to understand things. As I said, it's coming around that time of year where every October, November, I get my blood drawn. I didn't do that for like 4 years, and I'm still paying. It's a long story, but I didn't want to be insured. I decided I wasn't going to do doctors anymore, and but they taught me, and I have to pay $5 a month now for the rest of my life. I thought it was like a $500 fine. You pay off $5 a month, but no, they want me to remember every month to give them $5-6 so they're in charge. They're the boss, applesauce. Yeah, Western medicine's not giving an inch to healers like myself. But I realized there's a lot of good astrologers out there. As I said, Pam Gregory is my go-to person. I listen to a lot of them, but Pam is the one. And Pam Gregory, very easy, astrologer UK. And but I'm going to focus on, I realize psychics like myself, I think many people have a lot of psychic ability, but to really dedicate to master it, that's where to polish your stone, you got to take a lot of rubs. And so every year I go to my doctor. I've known this guy for like 30 years, and I thought like everybody grows, but they don't, and he can't understand what I'm doing, and especially now that I confront him with how I make him feel real uncomfortable about the pharmaceutical directive pharmacy. Do no harm, direct to consumer, the industrial pharmaceutical complex, like the industrial military complex, and then, as I said, so once a year, I don't really need to go in, actually, because I'm in perfect health for 76, and it blows his mind that I don't take statins. My cholesterol's perfect, my liver's in perfect. Everything in my body is perfect at 76, and especially my lungs. He can't stand the fact that my lungs are perfect, and I smoke cannabis like most people breathe. Right, Gabby? Yeah. And so last time, and he can't understand me. So as I was entering his office last time, we did the superficial huggy. Of course, we've known each other for 30 years. And then he said, well, you don't have syphilis. I just like, I was taken back, you know, that, as I said, it was like such a spit in the face. I just, you know, I couldn't deal with it until just the last couple of months. I've been thinking about that scenario, and I always think of what to say. I always get this sharp comeback, you know, a year later. That's why I write things down. So I should have. I'm not going to should on myself, but if I was a sharp, wise ass, I could have said, "It's funny. I was going to ask you the same thing." But that would have been a digress. I would have digressed, you know, and matched that. I think psychologically he cannot, you know, he's got to project his shadow of anybody who does what I do, you know, especially now that I'm picking up some fame. That must really rub him the wrong way. Gabby, hi. Yeah, there's Gabby. Hi, Gab. Oh yeah, she loves to hear her name. There's that little baby. There she is. Let's see if the bubble will come back. No. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Yeah, so they project their shadow, and I think he couldn't psychologically grasp his shadow now. Too many people have died from his pushing drugs, where he had the opportunity to really realize the hospitals have become death mills. So anyway, so if you're born, like Pam Gregory quoted someone in the UK who said, before you were born, your birth chart was etched into your heart. And then she said, I blew a fuse when I read that. Well, I blow a fuse every time I think of that. And a lot of us were born with this ability to, on different levels, and some of us don't develop. We're 25, we think we know it all, you know, but I didn't. I always, I'm just saying, I didn't. I had this humbling experience at, I didn't come alive until 33. That's when I believe I died and came back. And it's a long story. I wasn't just an out-of-body experience. I went somewhere. I was called Holy Terror, you know, but I'll do another show on that. So anyway, it was after Kathy Acker died, passed on because she's very much alive, in 97. And that was in 1998 was a 7-year for me, and a few months after she died, because we go from spring to spring, my 7-year, and my death really, my life, and along with that, Pluto was on my son, and my life, just death will pick you up, spin you around, and drop you in your own life. And I realized I decided, because she was living in London before the cancer came back, and then her friends kidnapped her and took her to. Well, she voluntarily went to some shark cartilage place in Mexico or something. I wanted her to stay here and work through, But anyway, as I said, she wrote erotic fiction, and this is the book. I just flashed it up there. It's called Eat Your Mind, and Jason McBride. It ends. The story ends in 97. When she passed on, and he makes me look okay. Of course, most people thought I was a charlatan. Most of her intelligentsia friends, who I thought were coke freaks, she separated me from those people because she said they would eat you up, Frank. Nobody's going to eat me up, but I understand where she was coming from. So anyway, I told you I was coming. That was 97 she passed on, and that's when I threw myself into cannabis activism. And then I know I needed to work on people, and the cannabis community gave me human bodies nonstop. So I called my decade of working for roaches, healing for roaches, working on anybody that sit down with me. How do you get the car to go? Practice. So anyway, I'm done. My Kundalini's alive and happy. Okay, so I was walking at a Rainbow Grocery a couple of months ago, and this book for 3 days was on the bench, a metal bench. The Rag and Bone Shop of the Heart, Poems for Men, Robert Bly, James Hillman, and Michael Meade, all of which are not on the physical plane anymore. And I very much in the vein of Carl Jung. And I left the book there because I figured, well, somebody's going to come back to that. It's such a precious book. And then after the third day, I go, I'm going to take this book. Anyway, the other day, Kathy Acker came to visit me. And it's interesting because the North Node, South Node is North Node Aries, South Node Libra. And she was born with the South Node Libra, North Node, vice versa. She was born, with the South Node. Opposite of where it is now, and I thought, and she talked to me like, and she relived, and I knew it was her, because like the Rag and Bone Shop, Hillman says in this page 147 about. We are grasped but what we cannot grasp. The air fills with delicate creatures, and Kathy is a delicate creature. Very, that's the only way to describe her. A talented, gifted, delicate creature. Although she put on this, tough-ass Dykes on Bikes thing because she was one of the founders of Dykes on Bikes here in San Francisco. She drove her Harley up and down from New York City to Duke University, where she taught in North Carolina. She would call me on pit stops. We got close the last few years of her life. I met her, and I begged her not to mutilate her body, get rid of her breast, get rid of cancer, and I was saying, well, one of the lessons come about nurturing, Kathy, but, it's like Brad Pitt's, what's her name, Angelina Jolie, she did the same thing, so, I just give up, to me, these women who, you throw the menu out with you eat the menu instead of the meal. It's all about forgiveness, deep hurts, healing that, because really at the end of the day, like without the feeling and love, and without the feeling of love, and without the faith and conviction that life in us is unobstructed, all the healing techniques of science are of little avail. Bernie Siegel, rest his soul, died a few years ago, May 16th. One of the few Western medicine doctors who was supportive of people like me, along with Dr. Bernie Larry Dossi in New Mexico, which I hope to meet someday. He's still around. Then he says, I don't hear these voices if I am lost in myself, and yada, yada, yada. He says, the soul needs anchoring. It's something beyond itself in a vision, which is the grounds of the initiations. That's what I think Earth is. Our incarnation here is an initiation for most of us. And then it says, at some point, however, we furl the sails and let the questioning come to rest. It becomes less a matter of seeking paradise, which is, not meant to be. We get little tastes of it. That's what this whole thing's about. It becomes less about seeking paradise than receiving gifts from paradise. Perhaps this too is a surrender. Surrender to God's will means you open up to a will that's going to give you things that will rock your world, give you things you never dreamt could give you happiness, your true self, being your true self. But most people, I can't, it's just, well, if you're such a good psychic, Frank, where's the money? Blah, 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 how can you live from hand to mouth? Because that's the way God wanted. That's the way God made me to live. How dare you question my, but that's another story, my Venus in Libra doesn't like confrontations, and that's the cosmic joke, because that's what I gotta do. Yes, Gabby, darling. Yes, you're the beaut. There's that girl. That's the pretty bird. Okay, Gabby, let me finish this, honey. Then he says right here, at some point, we feel a surrender. Instead of knocking on the door, the door, it swings on its own hinges. Or maybe you and the door are both unhinged, no longer on a journey. You are simply at home waiting for guests. So the great mystical philosopher Platonius, speaking of his relation with the figures of paradise, the other world, said, it is for them to come to me, not for me to go to them. I think he is saying you don't dwell yourself upwards and out of this world with aesthetic struggle. Rather, keep alert for visitations. Even this concrete world is full of souls, Dylan said. Yeah, we would like otherworldly visitations to come as distinct voices with clear instructions, like when John Lewis, Senator John Lewis, came to see me with this early in the morning, and told me, you got to make necessary trouble with Bayvac, man. Because this guy was pining on my chest. You trying to make trouble for us, Frank? You trying to make trouble for us? And, you know, I just joined Bayvac and SF Comics. It was like 13 years ago, 14 years ago. And, no. And, you know, and it was so green you could plant me. But then I said to John Lewis, we were talking like I'm talking to you. I said, no, that was, you know, but I had to. You know, I had to. I had to trust, you know, I don't only take messages, I act. I'm told to act on them, you know. It takes a lot of courage, by the way, you know. Okay, yeah, it says they might give us small dreams and say, you know, small little crumbs of, you know, in dreams, sudden hunches, insight we cannot be defined, more as if they emerge inside and steer you from within like a guardian angel, or as Ralph Jacobson says, puts its mouth against your heart. though you're not aware of it, and most amazingly, it has never got. Picture that, angels putting their mouth on your heart. That blows a fuse. That just like totally knocks me for a loop in a nice way, in the most wonderful way. I mean, nothing is better than the spiritual, you know, these contemporary mystical experiences we're all having, and we all want to pimp it. You know, we all want to. I'm not doing that. You know, because we're getting to this. I thought this out. I thought this little session out. Okay, so, but that window is open. It's also dangerous, according to, you know, several speak of, you know, yeah, you know, people are always afraid, oh, is this going to, August is always a bad month for me, Frank. August is always a bad month for me. And they don't understand the worst, even if it is, you know, that means you're not getting it and it has to repeat over and over again. Wisdom, profound wisdom comes through deep, deep pain. That heart's got to be cracked a few times before it opens, you know. If you're going to, you know, complain and scream over every rub, it's going to take a long time and many, many, many incarnations for you to polish this jewel. I like what, in this book, there's a hard copy of this in the Smithsonian, but I ordered a hard copy because this is a paperback, and the way I'm almost manhandling it, I want a hard copy of this book on the shelf. But Rumi says something here I thought was very right along here. It's a small little saying by Rumi, and it says, the light you give off did not come from a pelvis, period. Your features did not... Gabby, yeah, you think that's funny? The light you give off did not come from a pelvis, period. Your features did not begin in semen, period. Don't try to hide inside anger the radiance that cannot be hidden. Let that anger go and let your radiance be hindered. Don't let it be hindered. Let the obstructions move away. Yeah, so we're going to talk more about this in weeks to come, because I'm still, you know, I read a little bit of this, and the James Hillman is here. So anyway, Kathy came by to visit me, and she's okay. She's all right. She survived her death. We all survive her death. And like Pam, what's her name? The famous psychic who's no longer here, Sylvia Brown. In a lot of her books, she talks, and in her lectures, she talks about cocoons. You know, not everybody has this transition when they die, like Tibetan Book of the Dead. Gabby, we're busy, darling. You know, you should prepare always for the inevitable. You know, and I lost my train of thought. Okay, it's coming back. Yeah, so this whole thing about, you know, death will pick you up, spin you around, drop you in your own life. So, okay, let's. So Kathy came. So she survived her death. She's okay, but she said, she sent me this book. she said, she goes, and then she was reminding me, or I guess the angels were there. But when the cancer was in remission, and I begged her not to go back to London, but she had all these opportunities, the London Times, and working on albums with the music industry, and she was just a Renaissance being there. Gabby, we're busy. And we worked on the Spice Girls thing. She sent me all the Spice Girls information of their birth. I did all their charts. We spent hours on the phone. And I haven't found it yet, but a woman on the street a couple of months ago, I mentioned Kathy Acker. She says, "Oh, I love that interview she did with the Spice Girls." I said, "Yeah, I'm part of that." I said, "Yeah, I'm Psychic Frank," but as I said, he mentions me, but Kathy. As I said, the cancer came back shortly after that. And anyway, I begged her not to work on things. So anyway, while she was in this honeymoon period when the cancer was in remission, and I was hoping it really was never going to come back. I hope, I was so green then. I hadn't developed my own. I knew I was a channel for healing energy, but I was still not even a vegan. I remember. She was making a vegan cheese sandwich in this kitchen. She was staying around the corner when the cancer really came back. I got her back at least to San Francisco for a little while. And then I was going to hook her up with other healers, but no, because I didn't believe I believe the help to be of any help to anybody, really, other than to make the transition. And I didn't want to be in that position. So whatever reason, I was in the kitchen and and I said, "What's that?" And she goes, "Vegan cheese." And I made a face. I went, "Ah." And she looked at me like, "Frank," you didn't say it, but the look was, "Frank, fuck you, I'm dying, man." But, I didn't say anything. But I realized, well, you can't unring the bell, So anyway, she understands. She understands so much now. Before you are wise, after you are wise, in between you are otherwise. And she told me, "No, I put this book there for you, this very book on that thing for you." And then she reminded me of one weird call I got from her during that period when the cancer was in remission. And it was like, 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, which is probably late afternoon in, of course, London, Paris. They're like 9 hours ahead of us. So it was the middle of the night for me, so I knew it was late afternoon for Kathy. And she was, I was always happy to hear from her. I was, we were in our 40s then. She was only, "Gabby, stop that, we're busy." She was only like a few months older than me. It bothered her. And we talked about James Hillman, The Soul's Code, In Search of Character and Calling. And she had all these amazing questions. I wish I had taped the conversation then. And before you know it, I lit up a bowl full of weed, and then, my dog was awake, and speakerphone was going. And we had like a few hours of going through James Hillman. And then I went back to bed, and then of course the healing, the cancer happened, and everything happened so fast. Then I'm now processing it all. So she wanted me to know, people to know that about James Hillman. She said if and she was in the cocoon, like they put people like. Nazi, really bad murder, serial killers, people, pathological, really heinous people like Donald Trump, really heinous people, HEINOUS, heinous, look it up. It's a good word, don't search for adjectives. One word covers it all. The power of the word. See, that's what James Hillman's all about. That's what Carl Jung was all about, psychoanalysis in the 60s. Kathy, I'm going to do a whole session, and I'm sure Kathy, because it's interesting, because now the North Node's in Aries, the South Node's, and it's all, her soul's evolving real big time, because the North Node, South Node, opposite from her exact North Node, South Node. And so even though she was an Aries, she had this whole women's thing to work out. And but in the meantime, she wants anybody that reads about her to know about that she's okay, and that she wants them to really get into James Hillman. And especially this book is it's out of print, but it is possible to get it. And there's James Hillman and all kinds of good stuff in here. So Kathy, so what happens is, like, when these bad people finally burn out and leave the planet, they are put into a cocoon where it's bombarded with, like, the most intense love. And that really pissed me off, because I wanted, especially my stepfather was like murderous, mean, hateful guy, and I was the object of a lot of that for a good 10 years. I only lived with them for 10 years. I stayed with my grandparents after they adopted me, and then after they moved to Florida, I wasn't going to go to Florida. I stayed in New York with my grandparents again. So I was always only under his spell for 10. But those most formative years made me a junkie, man. I had so much pain. But I was blaming people for what I needed, but I did. I had so much pain. I didn't want to live. I've been there. I have empathy with that. That's why it takes a spiritual experience to get over these horrible addictions. But you don't hear that now. Oh, this program. Harm reduction's on the right track. And we have a mayor now that I pray to God doesn't get reelected. There's this guy, Daniel Laurie. I'm going to do everything I can to get him, and because he understands our city hall is just all self-serving. They don't give a shit about anybody. The residents in this city now, deal with it. So getting back to Kathy Acker, she wants everybody to know that she's okay, and that and we'll get more into that. And I might even send Jason McBride a copy of this. This video, because I don't want it. I think people need to know what happened to me afterwards. After 97, as I said, and definitely Kathy is involved, and she's just like she gave me this book. She said she's in a position to help a lot of people who really, really loved her. To even meet her briefly, you just fell under her spell. Her energy was too radiant, and she really, I think, abused no coffee and cigarettes. She kept all that away from me, especially her binges with cocaine. But anyway, that's another story. I love you, Kathy. God bless you. I see when I do this, I break the circuit. So that's what's been going on with that. Okay, Kamala Harris, Jupiter, 12th house in Taurus, and Uranus is on her Jupiter. Jupiter is retrograde. Now, what happened on yesterday, September 1st, 8:18 p.m. Pacific time, Uranus, the upside down lollipop inside the H, the head going through the hips. It's all about giving birth to this new you. Well, Uranus in 27 Taurus. Listen to Pam Gregory there. But and then later that day, 5:10 yesterday, Pluto backed up into Capricorn until mid-October, when it goes direct, 29 degrees Capricorn, and then in November 19th, 20th, it enters Aquarius for 20 years. So from this period, as of yesterday, now with Pluto retrograde until the middle of October, and Uranus retrograde until May, April of next year, we're going to see a tsunami of truths, deep, ugly, hideous, heinous. There's that word again. Heinous truths are going to be coming up. So that's really, and then as I said, I'm taping this on the Virgo new moon. Yesterday was the Virgo new moon, Labor Day. And today is the last day of Mars, 29 degrees Cancer, Gemini rather. And then tomorrow morning, Jupiter will enter Leo, where it's going to stay for 6 months. Until May of 2025. We'll have a brief little interlude of Pluto. Will back up into Virgo for like a month or so, but for the most part, it's going to be 6 months of Mars going back and forth in Leo. That's going to be really hell for anybody, Leo people like Donald Trump, anybody with Leo rising. I don't have his chart around here because, as I said, I was going to say I don't want to even mention Donald Trump's name anymore. I'm going to just refer to him as the heinous one. But then, there's Bannon. He's pretty heinous. And the king of heinous people is that Stephen Miller. Cruelty is the point. Man, you're reaping karma you don't even want. You're going to end up in a cocoon forever, Yeah, so they go into this cocoon. So, yeah, getting back to Kathy Acker, she was telling me she just got out of this intense cocoon. She said it wasn't like one of those cocoons where they put mass murderers, but she had deep problems. Cancer's a deep hurt that you hold on to, and she had this deep hurt, and she was always trying to pin it on someone. Her sister was a major... and probably a worthy recipient of all her angst, and it's interesting. I just got a little enlightened flash about my own, angst, people in the angst in my life, and if they didn't exist, every story's got to have a bad guy, and the worse the bad guy is, the more the gift is valuable, precious, and so anyway, she's going to be probably one of my, one of her sessions. I said to her, before you took a body, you were pretty much a voyeur. And she looked at me and I said, yeah, you were they had to give you samples of what's going on this plane. And this is, we're talking different time frames, all through from Romans, through Greek, and, she came in with a lot of wisdom. This wasn't a brain fog birth. It took that Aries courage to get her in here. And then she burnt out. She burned out too fast. well, she did what she... Actually, she did everything she had to do. Yes, she wants me to know that. She came in exactly what she wanted to do, and she's grateful, and, she wants everybody to get into James Hillman. Okay, so... Kamala Harris. Okay, what else is going on now? What else is going on? Here's the notes. The Soul's Code, In Search of Character and Calling, too. That's in print still. Reinvent and refine takes courage. And it takes courage. Takes that Aries courage, yeah. Oh, yeah, Vice President Waltz. Seems like a nice guy, He seems like a really nice guy, a dedicated teacher. I don't get the hunting thing. I guess you got to do that if you're going to get votes in America, but I hope that's what it is. I can't imagine the guy shoots Bambi's mother, he's out there with the Second Amendment, emotional cruelty, things feel things. There's Gabby, right? Things feel things. And he's talking the other, weird people have enough problems. There's good weird, and then there's heinous weird, And before Shakespeare, now you're vice president to be Tim Waltz. The power of the word. Word cast spells. Words cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. You see. And when you just said he's weird, it's like no. That's not going to pass Psychic Frank now. It's the old word weird. Was in the Old English dictionary was WYRD, weird. I guess it has to do with Loretta Lynn in Coal Miner's Daughter. We worked hard. We were tired. We worked hard. We were tired. Yeah, a word. Weird. Comes from German origin, of course. Meaning originally meant having the power to control destiny. People who were dancing to the beat of a different drummer. They were like the lemmings were running off the cliff, and they're saying, you know what? I'm gonna smoke myself to death. I'm not gonna do that. And was especially then it was an exalted term. It just made a person's weird, man. He's got powers, but then it kind of course, that didn't last. Because Shakespeare came along with the three weird sisters, referring to the Fates. Later, the witches. Shakespeare's Macbeth. Later, unearthly. From Scott. The 14th century, weird was used as a verb to sense the predestination of fate. Degree of fate was used, gave rise to the early 19th century meaning of unearthly, and then burning of people who had, like me. Yeah, men and women like myself, who danced to the beat of a different drummer, who knew that, they would get visitations. Gabby Buell, please stop that. So do some research. You don't weird is an exalted term, and don't and take back that that's you made a little faux pas. We're human beings having a spiritual experience. Nobody's perfect. That showed you're human. Stop hunting. Stop killing Bambis. There's no sport in killing a defenseless animal, you moron. And morons, plural. The bus pulled over, and Donald Trump tried to get on, and the bus driver said, "No morons." And that started his psychic wound. That started, he couldn't get the chauffeur, so he had to take public transportation. I just made that up. Okay, light is the game changer, and love is the checkmate. Beliefs? Okay, everybody's got these beliefs. Okay, listen up now. Beliefs are just thoughts you keep on thinking, and thoughts can be changed. Okay, if you're watching TV or network TV, any kind of antenna TV, or I don't know about cable TV now, but the direct-to-consumer pharmaceutical ads are atrocious. Heinous. That's the word for today. Heinous. Pointing out all these literally heinous things. Odious, heinous things now. Okay, so what we're talking about is you hear a lot about skin problems, and the side effects for these drugs now, eczema and all this. Skin protects our individuality, a sense organ, new thought pattern. I feel safe. It's safe. I feel safe to be me. Anxiety, skin problems, anxiety, fear, all burning guck. I am being threatened. I lovingly protect myself with thoughts of joy and peace. The past is forgiven and forgotten. I am free in this moment. This woman who was a horrible mother. She still is. Her kids are all grown up now, the ones that survived her. And when I was doing the cannabis clubs, we're reading for roaches just to get practice. And I leaned over. She never really sat with me, and I told her, "You need to go to the library and this book sale. There's all these great books now, and especially." And she goes, "No, I can't get. No." And it was just no, not even a book sale. I vividly remember telling her, "Go to the library and take out a book. You don't have to buy them. Get a library card." She says, "No, the library books have bugs in them." Your ass has got bugs in them, Okay. I didn't mean that literally. I didn't know her that well, but I shouldn't have been that sharp there. But come on, give me a break. I wish, I like to watch that, was it Wayne Brady on, what is that? Let's Make a Deal. Let's Make a Deal. And at the end of the thing, they have a few minutes, and he always points at people in the audience. Show me this. Show me this. I'd like him to say, "Show me a library card. I'll give you $15,000. He never had to part with $15,000 because I bet in that audience, nobody had a library card. Please support our libraries. Read. If you don't read, you only got one life. You could just, like, I'm reading now this amazing book. I'm just getting around to reading. It came out in 2000. Einstein's E equals MC2. And there's this whole thing about Oppenheimer, Well, he's damaged. He was damaged goods, you know. There's even a photograph of him, and stories you're never gonna hear anywhere else on the hell he went through. You know, being this genius, you know, perfectionist. I'd like to look at his birth chart. There's a photograph in here of him, and you know, like, and how here he is, picture of Oppenheimer. You know about yeah, as a kid, you know, and how they were stuck with this how they're going to get plutonium out of uranium, and they needed the brightest guy to get, and that's why they had to tolerate his eccentricities there. But as a kid, he was stripped and spent a night in a freezer, a walk-in freezer. That's how much the kids hated him, you know, his peers, because of his being weird, you know. But just knowing that his radiance, you know, he should have worked on humility there. Oh, God. I hope you got a little something, because my 52 minutes are just about up. But I think if you're interested in astrology, all you need to know is that Uranus is retrograde now. And so if you're been part of the trickled on, you can expect now bottom up. Everything's going to be turned upside down. It's going to start in November when Pluto. We've had little clips of this when Pluto enters Aquarius until 2044. I have it written down the exact month of that year. So, yeah, come November, we're going to have a whole new... But right now, there's so much light bombarding the Earth. I know there's one woman who watches my show, I know from my Langston Park, and I could tell she's feeling the radiation off these sun spurts. So you want to go to CMA's, coronal mass ejection, CMEs, and spaceweather.com. It's free, and they'll give you like 2-3 times a week. You give them your email address, and they'll give you these photographs of what's coming off of the sun now. Eons of wisdom is penetrating, and light is penetrating, and it makes a lot of people irritable and emotionally unbalanced, and they're feeling all sorts of things going on. Don't resist them. Accept them. Don't fight it. It's like this tsunami of knowledge and wisdom. Get into your meditation. I am surrounded by the love and light of God. I am protected. And my soul knows intuitively how to absorb these powerful wisdom and utilize them into making the world a better place. And you'll find yourself, oh, this is happening for us, not to us. And now I'm putting the cards and pick some cards for you all and see what we got going on here. So this is how we're collectively feeling about ourselves. Yeah. This whole Kamala Waltz thing now, it's sort of like, yeah, she's good now. Yeah, we finally got, you know, the right combination. Waltz is a great guy, you know, but I just want him to, you know, stop using words. You know, words have power, but for the most part, this is just gifts now. I think God wants us now to stop our cups upside down, turn it right side up now, and receive, like Hillman says. Don't manipulate things. People come, I want this, I want that. Just pray God's will for you. You'll get that and more. You'll look back and say, oh, thank God for answered prayers. Thank God for unanswered prayers. I think it's in the front page of one of Truman Capote's quotes from some saints. Thank God for unanswered prayers. Of course, answered prayers, I think, or something to do with one of his books, where he dished all his rich friends and they all turned on him. Okay, here's what we want most right now. We're not going to stay confined. We're dancing out of here. We're throwing confetti in the air. We're coming out. This is a 1 year and a 1 month for the United States of America. Last year we detangled ourselves from everything that we had outgrown, Oh yeah, this has all been about Pluto still conjuncting our money house, but it's over. Now it's just the last gasps. But I think it's definitely going to be no more trickle down. Biden, God bless him, has been saying no more trickle down, but he won't go so far as to say screw you, Ronald Reagan. And now Hollywood's making a movie glorifying Ronald Reagan. No, 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 no. Well, yes, 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 they're doing it, but it's still disgustingly disgusting. Heinous. It's a heinous act. Ronald Reagan was a heinous being. Okay, this is what we're fearing now. We're so hell bent on money, 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 money. I'd buck a yen, a mark a yen, a bucker a pound. I'll sell your grandmother's dead gold teeth. It's like, come on. Costco. Yeah, I had friends shop for me at Costco because hey, it was money, man. It was money. No, I woke up and I realized no. Every cent I part with, I'm feeding the animal. Which animal? The tiger or the kitten? Which one Which one? The one that's going to kill? Which one is the or the dog and the wolf? If that's the story. And then the old man says. The young kid says to the old man, "Well, which one lives?" He says, "The one you feed." So don't feed the bad one. Feed the good one. Yeah. So Costco. There's literally two. Costco's rolls. Their aisles. They're massive. Well, two of those are Koch brothers. And who's the number one supporter of fascist and anti-unions and everything else? Those two, Costco. Anything, Costco's got a big investment in that. You're killing all the mom and pop stores, So if you say you're against, the bad guy, you're feeding the bad animal, So whatever you're gonna. People say, well, I'm living on a fixed income. Well, who fixed it, honey? Don't you have the imagination? Don't you have an imagination? God asked you to, ask for help. It all comes from God anyway. It takes different forms. Okay, this is what's going on for us. A new vehicle. Look, Ma, no hands. There's no reins in his hands. There's Earth plane. This is the only planet we got a shadow now. We won't have it for long. Because we're only here for a little time, and we're so insignificant compared to the vastness of the universe. We think we're all that, because we got all these degrees. Thermometers have degrees, honey. Look where they stick them. Okay, this is what is going on against us now. This fire. This fire we're feeling, we refuse to. We're not going to stop these solar flares, and we don't want to stop them. There's more light that ever permeated. We're afraid of the light. We're afraid of our radiance. See, that's why I started this out with the RUMI thing. If we, hide our radiance under fear, get rid of the fear, man. Fear, false evidence appearing real. Excuse me. And the final outcome now. We're growing up. We're growing up. We no longer get kicks and giggles out of seeing Bambi's mother getting shot, by get up, I got a sale now, okay, so that's enough. And let me see anything else we need to know here. Well, Gabby, my little chinchilla face. Okay, anything else? Okay, so we covered Louise Hay a little bit. We talked about Oppenheimer, Trouble Soul. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here we go. Oh, I put these here so I wouldn't forget them. Oh, yeah, here's it. So what's going on now, the North Node, and, so we got coming up. I ran out of, for some reason, my Mountain Astrologer didn't come. So, okay, here's heinous, Heinous. Hateful, odious, atrocious, abominable, synonym, flagrant, flagitious, flagitious, nefarious, wicked, as of to arouse the strongest hatred and revulsion. Heinous, Nous. Heinous. Heinous. Okay, so Pluto retrograde. Okay, don't forget, you're watching Psychic Frank's Mystery School. And if you want to send me your birthday, day, month, and year of your birth, the location if you know it, and the time you were born, I'll pop it in the computer. You don't have to use your real name. You might want to pick a name with the first vowel. The first vowel right with your name, but I could see where you might want to keep your anonymity there. This is Amaha, what a miracle. Yeah, so Psychic Frank 11 at gmail.com. And keep your questions brief. Just a little bit more about your numerology for the year, or if you know a little, anything like that. If you want me to pick a card for you, you can have a one-card reading. Let's do that right now. Okay, so that's what we are doing now. Yeah, because I remember I said this last year or something about, send me any questions, and there was like this woman really poured her heart out to me. I mean, it was like I'm scrolling down, and it took me around a week to even sit with it. And then I finally said, okay, I'll see what's up. And boy, it really took a while. I was no good the rest of the day. So don't abuse your psychic. Because even when I do sessions, I would never, take, making the appointment, I would make it very clear, that we weren't going to figure it all out in one session. But I imagine, it was fun. I love that Sam and Dave, they were playing at Harris's campaign, the Democratic. Oh, speaking of Democratic, the Democrats, we ourselves, get Daniel Laurie, man, because he says too, there's one guy, Raphael Mendelson. He's the only supervisor on the Board of Supervisors I'm going to vote for. Every single one of them, I'm going to vote for the direct opposite of who the Democratic thing which says vote for these guys. Oh yeah, I can't wait to see Duffy and all these guys. Of course, they'll probably all get but at least I'll sleep better at night saying I didn't vote for them. I've had it with these guys now. I mean, I like this Daniel Laurie, man. He says they're all, everything, that city hall is full of self-serving, and the city's doomed. We can't survive. To talk about the hypocrisy of London Breed. She came right out. I said, I rebuke you. The next day she came out saying that she was against harm reduction. And then just a couple weeks ago, she's standing in her city hall, I swear to God, with a pot pan in her hand. I mean, woman, there's nothing sacred with you. The misery you cause and are causing and will continue to cause. Vote for Daniel Laurie. God bless you. I love you, and I'll be back in 2 weeks, God willing. And thanks to SF Commons and YouTube. I love you guys. Namaste. Say goodbye, Gabby. Gabby, say goodbye. No, she's not going to say it. Love you guys.